Hey, everybody, did you have a good nap? I know I did. So just sit back, relax, grab yourself some snacks because that little thing that we do called Shifty Sunday is coming up next. Mm. Hey, everybody, welcome to Shifty Sunday. I'm your host with the most that likes Mega Ghost on his toast, Hebro77 here with good old Amazon Lion. And boy, do we have a Shifty Sunday for you.
Hello, Hebro77. How are you this evening?
Well, I tell you what, I almost didn't make it.
Oh, what happened?
I fell asleep is what happened.
Well, sometimes that happens.
Yeah,
It'll be happening everywhere.
it happened everywhere. You're right about that. When it gets fall time and the air gets a little cooler, I get a little sleepier. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I like to be cuddled up in this cold stuff. Sometimes a couple layers, even in the house.
Oh, what kind of show do we have tonight? We have Go Kart Bob was here. Go Kart Bob run out. He run away.
I don't know, but he was wondering, hey, did you hear the one about the trucker that picked up a cowgirl? So
The
we're
tr-
going to have to get him back on here and hope he gives us an answer because now I'm curious.
yeah. What about the trucker that picked up a cowgirl? So
So, what good stuff do we have tonight?
we have all kinds of stuff. It's been a minute since we've been on a Shifty Sunday.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks. Oh, there's Mr. Go Kart Bob. He says, hello. Are we there yet? Oh, yes, we are.
Hey, Go Kart Bob. So, what do you? I mean, not call. Um, what? What about the trucker that picked up a cowgirl? What happened?
Readers want to know.
Inquiring Hebrews want to know, and he girls. That didn't make sense. See, if you say that out loud, the name doesn't make sense. That's what I was going to call you. Remember?
Yeah.
It was going to be Hebrew and he girl, but that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think I definitely like my name.
Yeah.
It's something I've used for years and it just stuck.
Stuck like a Mothman
Like
to
an Amazon
flypaper.
lion.
Oh, I was going to say a Mothman to flypaper. Have you heard the story about Mothman?
I have not. What is the story about Mothman?
You seriously, you've never heard the legend of Mothman?
I'm not sure if I've heard that one. I've
Hmm.
heard quite a few, but I don't know if I've heard that one.
Well, there's been legends and monsters and myths and mayhems, um, but the legend of Mothman is this creature from Pennsylvania. In fact, the Mass YouTuber covered it earlier today, I do believe. Let's if you go over to the Mass YouTubers channel, you guys will find out about the legend of Mothman and the legend of Bigfoot and all kinds of stuff. Everybody knows about Bigfoot, though. I think
Oh,
Bigfoot's
yeah.
one of the more
Bigfoot's the
well-known one.
popular one.
Hmm. But yeah, I'm not sure the whole story behind Mothman, but like I said, it's over there on Mass YouTuber's channel. You got to go watch his video to find out.
Well, I'll have to check it out.
He forced me to say that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He said if I didn't say it, he was going to melt one of my action figures with a lighter.
Shame on him.
That's what he does. I don't think you. Do you know the history between me and the Mass YouTuber?
I've heard a few stories, but what's yours?
Oh, we have quite the history together. One time he broke into my apartment and we got into a big old fight, and he took over my channel one time, and well, there's all kinds of things that went on.
Wow. Sounds like a complicated relationship.
It is. It is. But no, seriously, folks, we have a heck of a show for you today. We are going to be talking about some of those myth and legends that I mentioned. We're going to be talking about vampires. We're going to be talking about the Wolfman. We're going to be talking about, of course, you have your creepy critter for the week.
Of course.
Of course, of course. A horse is a
A
horse,
horse
of
is
course,
a
of
horse,
course.
of course, of course.
Yeah.
That's what Mr. Ed told me.
And, we got Halloween coming up. So pretty soon we'll have the Shifty Sunday Halloween special.
Ooh.
Hopefully, Saji will be available for that one.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Have him drop in.
Yeah. Maybe even Armor could be. Maybe all four of us could be on that one.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, let's see here. Oh, and we got funny memes.
Oh yeah, we can't forget the beautiful meme footage.
I'll tell you what, I just hope we don't run into some issues like we did last week. Man, last week my computer was having all kinds of issues. You remember that?
Or was that the week before?
Was that the week before? You had to take over the show?
Yeah, that was new.
Man, I'll tell you what, you did a pretty good job though.
Well, thank you.
Oh yeah, you did. You queued in kind of late, but you didn't know.
No, I didn't know if anyone could hear me or not. I wanted the audience to hear me. I didn't want to be talking to myself.
Right.
That usually doesn't go quite well in society.
No, I'll tell you what. Nobody knew what was going on. My computer just glitched out. It made the funniest of sounds, and then all of the sudden, just like that, the show I got kicked out of my own show.
Yeah, that was pretty bizarre. I mean, I could have sworn I heard some voices on my end, and even had you listen to it and was just trying to figure it out and never did. There was some kind of interference.
There was some kind of interference. I think there was some reverb coming back from your end.
Possibly.
Whenever I shut down, I think somehow it reverted back, and that was the voices you heard, possibly. Mm. Speaking of hearing and seeing things, since that week went by, we had some things happen to us kind of strange. Do you want to talk about that?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, you want about the little sighting we had?
Yes. Ooh, now I remember. I mean, I even hurt my neck looking at it because I couldn't understand what it was. And at first, I thought it was a plane, but it seemed to be maybe on the same block as us. And I was looking in the air and it seemed like it was getting closer and closer. And I'm like, well, that thing's getting awful low to be a plane. But then the next thing I know, it doesn't look like a plane. It looks more, to me, it looked more squarish. And there were, the white lights in each of the four corners. And I thought, well, maybe it's a drone, but then it kept coming down further and further. And I said, man, that's a really gigantic drone. That cannot be a drone. And then, I kept looking around real quick, and you were trying to figure out what in the world was wrong with me. And I said, I swear to you, I just seen something that might be a UFO. Because it doesn't look like a plane. It's too low, and now it's square. Planes are not square, but drones are. But this is gigantic. What is it? And then you can tell your end of it now.
Oh, well, I know you said something, and I turned and I thought, no, it's just a plane. You're like, no, that's not a plane, dude. You're like, I don't turn my head like that for just a plane. And I was like, well, let's follow it. So we started following it. And as we were following it,
Now, don't forget the direction and how quick it turned direction.
yeah, it was going straight up in the air.
Because it was going south, and it
Right.
was going low, really low, like above the tree line.
Right.
And so when you were like, no, this can't be possible. You're imagining things. And I'm like, Hebrew 77, I just about broke my neck to look at this thing. And that's just not me. I don't go that crazy looking at something. Because usually I recognize, because I'm a sky watcher. Usually I recognize what it is. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what did we do?
Well, we followed it.
Yes, we followed it. And what happened? It changed direction, and it changed direction fast.
Course and disappeared.
It seemed like once it realized we seen it, or that I had seen it, it changed direction.
Yeah.
And it was no longer going down. It was going.
Bob, start over. I'm the only one here.
It started going north. And what direction did it go? Up or down?
It went straight up.
It went straight up until you could no longer see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was pretty freaked out by that one. I've never seen such a close sighting.
This was giving me away to the fact that it wasn't a drone, because I've never seen a drone fly quite that high.
I have not either. And I've never seen a drone that gigantic either.
No. And you know how an airplane usually has its regular red and green lights, and they're usually blinking. This thing had different set of lights on it. It wasn't just the regular red blinking light like a plane has.
Right. For me, what I seen was it was square.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have the dips in the middle like a drone usually does. It was completely square, and there were white lights on all four corners. And I kept telling you, I was like, it's coming too low. It's coming too low. Now it's over the tree line. What is that? And I was swinging my head everywhere because you were, doing the turns and stuff like that. And it's just the way that it changed direction instantly. And it went from flying so low. And then after I saw it, it started going upward, just straight up until it was gone.
And of course, you couldn't get any camera footage.
No, I couldn't get my phone out quick enough. And I was so disappointed because it would have been some amazing footage.
Oh, yeah.
To catch this thing. And we have Go-Kart Bob back. And he says, start over. I'm the only one here.
Yeah, I read that.
Yes, go-kart
That's
Bob. It
funny.
had 4 corner it was square, and there were white lights at each corner of the square.
And I got to be honest, I had never really encountered a UFO before. I had seen things in the sky, I'd seen things on videos and heard people talk about things, but this was my first experience seeing something like this. So it,
Yeah, for me it was insane, and I never turned my head like that. I turned my head towards the back window, and my neck hurt the whole day the next day because I was just trying to catch sight of what this was because I was just so amazed by it.
that's
It
what you,
can't be a plane because by the time I got done watching it, it's over the tree line, and it's at least half the size of that tree, and it's square. And I'm just like flipping out. I'm like, well, at first I thought it was a drone, but then it kept getting lower and lower and lower and lower. And drones don't look like that. And then by the time it changed directions very quickly, it went up until we could no longer see it.
yeah.
I don't know any
And
drones that go up that high.
and planes will not go straight up like
No,
that.
they won't go straight up and they won't turn directions instantly.
Right. So this was definitely something I'd never seen or experienced before, and you
Well,
know, I
Michael
just
Fontaine was wondering if it looked like a Starfleet shuttlecraft.
no, Michael Fontaine, it did not. It didn't, unfortunately. To me, it looked more like a pizza box.
Yeah, it was just square, and there was a white light at each corner, and it was going south, and it was very, very low because, like I said, it was high up, and I thought, okay, that might be a plane, but then it kept coming lower and lower, and it was like right above the tree line, and it was as it was getting lower, I switched my mind, thought it was a drone, but drones are never that big.
No,
And then as soon as it realized it seemed like that I saw it, it instantly changed directions and went north and was going straight up until I couldn't see it anymore. That
well, I'm not ready
was
for it
my
yet.
happy little frog.
Not just yet. Hold on.
We'll have to tell the
But,
audience about my happy little frog.
well, since I've already popped it up there, do you want to tell the story about the happy little frog? This is another little encounter we had, but this was a more natural and more happy one.
Yes, it made me laugh. I was driving down the road running some errands. Next thing I know, I seen something jump on the windshield, and it was a frog. It was a tiny frog. So if you would have put that picture up and show how happy he was.
Well, I'm going to play the video. We got
Oh,
this is the
okay,
video
yeah.
right now. There we go. So this happened just the other day, if I'm not mistaken.
I did get a good picture of a smile though.
So here's this, the
He looked
happy
so
little
happy
frog.
and content there.
Let's see if I can make this any bigger. There we go. Okay.
Can't really hear what I'm saying though.
Okay, now wait a minute. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
Was the sound distorted there?
I couldn't really hear myself.
You couldn't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Could anybody there hear what I was presenting? Because this might be an issue that I need to correct because earlier when I was doing a video I was recording, it the sound got all messed up and choppy. So let us know there in the audience because we're going to be presenting stuff all night
Go
long.
Kart Bob said no.
Okay, so it sounded okay for you, Go Kart. Anybody else? Anybody?
No, he was seeing the video, but sound was an echo.
Yeah, I heard the echo a little bit. Hold on, let's see something. Let you mute up your mic for a second. Okay, let's see if it's better now. Let's see. I'm gonna play it one more time. Make it big screen again.
Now I don't see anything at all.
Oh, you know what? I probably cut it off. Hold on. Yeah, that's what I did. All right, mute up again. Okay, let's try this one more time.
Go Kart Bob says faint echo.
Uh-huh.
Well, anyway, I'm not so sure that frog was so happy after the ride.
After the ride, yeah. Well, you know what they
I
say.
went
It's
driving with him down the road on the windshield, and then he jumped and he disappeared.
you know what they say. It's not easy being green.
No.
So that probably wasn't easy for him.
I'm hoping all the other little froggies came along and helped him up. But I want you to show that picture that I got of him smiling because that's, I love when frogs look like they're smiling. He was really happy and content at first.
Let's see if we can bring that up. There we go.
Doesn't he look so happy?
No. Happy little frog. There you have it.
Yeah, I'm hoping he came out okay once he jumped.
Well, with that being said, with no further ado, what do you say we share some memes?
Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. I meant meme footage.
Meme beams. Maybe we'll have some memes of some beans someday. Well, when we're playing our memes, we gotta have some happy little meme music.
Go-Kart Bob was wondering if I got the frog off the car. No, I wanted him to cruise with me. I didn't know he was going to jump off. I just wanted some companionship. He was my little hitchhiker. I wanted to enjoy his company. I mean, I guess I could have got him off the windshield and sat him in the passenger side seat.
I like this one. All right. What do you mean we have memes? There's your first meme.
What do you mean we have memes?
I like
Yeah.
this.
I figured it'd be a pretty easy recipe.
Yeah.
Seems simple enough. For on those nights, you ain't got very long to cook. Just feed the kids fish and chips.
I think we have a pretty good chance this season.
Oh yeah, I've seen tons. Tons.
The average hunter is getting older, and millennials think meat comes from stores.
Right.
Okay, now I am hearing a slight echo. Let's try something. Hello. Okay, it is coming from your end. Okay, there we go. Hello?
Hello?
All right. Next meme.
Next meme.
I like
What do we
this.
got? What do we got?
I like this one. I saw this earlier.
Yeah, I got a good giggle out of that. Cotton Eye Joe. Where did he come from? Where did he go? If you have any information, please contact our producers.
Now here's how I would read it. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you
Cotton
hear
Eye-
me?
Yes.
Okay.
Cotton Eye Joe. Where did he come from? Where did he go? If you have any information, please contact our producers at Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, you definitely do that better than I do.
But that's great.
He wouldn't sound as good if he had my voice.
I don't know. You'd make it interesting. Wash your ghost.
It's rides for $1.
That's funny.
This corn maze is so for me.
Oh, boy.
I won't have to worry about getting lost.
This corn maze is perfect for Joe Biden.
No, he'd still get lost.
You think so?
Yeah. He would think the corn maze was behind him. You see that set of woods?
Oh, yeah. Think his handlers would stop him or just let him go?
I don't know. Good question.
That's fun. That's hilarious. And this isn't really a meme so much as it is kind of a time for Halloween.
You had a happy little breakfast egg.
Yeah. We were out having breakfast, and as everybody knows, I like ketchup on my eggs. So the egg just happens to look like a ghost. So instead of toast, I guess from now on I should say what I like having on my eggs.
He's smiling, but his eyes look cranky.
Oh yeah, he's got an evil
Is
smile.
he still not woke up yet?
No, he's got one of those. He's got one of those evil smiles. Right. he's gonna cause something. He's coming up with an excellent plan. Gonna rub his hands together, go excellent.
If he had hands.
Yeah. Maybe we can give him some hands with some bacon.
Yeah. Next time we'll add some hands and some arms and legs with some bacon.
Mm-hmm.
Give him some sausage hands and feet.
Yeah.
Maybe give him some hair with some hash browns.
Yeah, a little hash brown goatee.
A little goatee. Hash brown goatee. Oh, I love this one.
Oh man, I'll let you read this one.
It says, I grew up in a college town, and one Halloween, our doorbell rang, and we opened the door expecting to see trick-or-treater. But what was in front of our open door was another door, like a full-on wooden door that had a sign that said, please knock. So we did. And the door swung open to reveal a bunch of college dudes dressed as really old grandmothers, curlers in their hair, etc., who proceeded to coo over our costumes and tell us we were such cute trick-or-treaters. One even pinched my cheek. Then they gave us candy, closed their door, picked it up, and walked to the next house.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds like backwards world.
Yeah, I would love to have that come to my door.
Now this will be mine.
Oh yeah, because I figured you'd really like this one.
Mhm.
This fits you to a T.
I got kicked out of the Walmart break room today. They asked me what I was doing there. I said, I'm on break. What do you think? They said, but you don't work here. I told them I just went through the self-checkout. Clearly I do.
I mean, honestly, I could see you doing something like this.
Yes.
That's no joke.
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you what. They expect us to do self-checkout. You know, like I said, you always tell me, well, you forget they're not gonna have checkouts open between a certain time. I'm like, well, they should. I don't know what time that is. I think that's what, after 6, after 7, something like that.
Yeah. Somewhere around that time. I know it's in the late evening, and then it's just all self-checkout.
Now, honestly, I don't mind if I have like 1 or 2 things and I'm in a hurry. But a lot of times when we go there, I'll have quite a few things, and there'll be a line from here to Kalamazoo of people with groceries. And then it's like, well, come on, you know? I don't know. It's backwards world. We live in backwards world.
Seems that way sometimes.
Anyway, next meme. Oh wait, was that it? I believe that's all the memes for this week.
Well, it might be, unless you didn't go up far enough.
Yes, I believe that's it.
All right then.
Oh wait, you know what?
Maybe if you scroll more up and more down.
Well, let's see. No, I think we shared all those. No? Yeah, we shared all those.
Alrighty.
So yeah,
Well, there's
we're,
our beautiful memes for the week then.
there's our memes for the week, our beautiful meme footage, as you
Our
call it.
beautiful meme footage is now at an end.
There we go. Now, hey, now I don't hear the echo anymore.
I don't either. Wonder what happened.
I don't know.
That's a good thing though,
Oh
so I
yeah,
won't complain.
no. So let's see what kind of comments we got right now at this moment. Looks like people are just walking in. There's Michael Fontaine. Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine. How'd I do?
That was that was pretty good. I was legitimately clearing my throat that time, man. I tell you, this weather.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot lately as well. It's this weather up and down like crazy. I feel like I gotta change 3 outfits a day.
Good thing I'm not like that. I only got 2 outfits.
Well,
I got lots of T-shirts, but only like
I got 2 outfits and a pair of pajamas. Sometimes I go out in those.
yeah. Well, you got to do what you got to do. You know, nobody will notice these day and age.
No.
You could be out in your underwear at Walmart and nobody would even bat an eye.
Well, they might bat an eye, but
No, I don't know. I don't know. Not the way things are going. I mean, look at the you ever see these videos called People of Walmart?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Some pretty interesting people there. Let's just say that.
There's pretty interesting people all over the world.
Yeah, but especially at Walmart. Just saying. So anyway, yeah, we got some stories. Got some news stories here. Oh, excuse me. I don't think I packed too much for this week's Shifty Sunday. I know I threw a couple things in there. A couple of them were Halloween themed.
Right. You did.
But before we get into our Halloween themed ones, let's see. Wait a minute. What's this? Wait a second. What is this? Oh, yeah. I think we've seen that one. We'll deal with that later. Okay. So we got this. You know, we've been doing this thing, called either weird things in Illinois or weird laws or crazy laws and stuff like that. We've been doing featuring Illinois, the state that we live in, and so I found this interesting thing. It's called attractions in Illinois that I want to share.
So some good things about Illinois this week.
It's called, well, as soon as I get the ad down, there we go. 10 quirky roadside attractions in Illinois worth a road trip. So that's what I want us to talk about. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and share this giant screen here. And this first thing here that caught my eye. Look at the cat with the coffee. That'd be your cat.
That'd be my cat if I had one, yeah.
Yeah.
We'd be sitting at the kitchen table together, drinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So, what are the 10 quirky roadside attractions in Illinois? What do you think?
I would have no clue.
I'll tell you, one of the things that I liked seeing, and I think it's still up. I'm getting an echo on your end.
You're getting an echo again?
Yeah,
I have no clue what's going on.
I think it's every time we share the screen, but
Hmm.
it seems to be coming for your end.
Well, I wouldn't be sure what to do. I'm a trainee.
Um, I guess while I'm reading this article, if you could mute up,
All right,
I'm
sounds good
reading
to
it,
me.
then yeah, okay, all right, there we go. So, and yeah, it's gone. So one of the attractions that I always like to see, and I think they still got it up sometimes, is Big John statue, and it has the great big giant Paul Bunyan looking guy with the grocery bags in his hands, and that's one of my favorite things. Although I think that you could find that in other places besides Illinois, but I'm just saying that's one of my favorite giant attractions. So let's see what this article says of things you can't find anywhere else. You can't find these roadside attractions anywhere else. Rather, it's the world's giant ketchup bottle or Casey's 12 world's largest objects. So here we go. I'm going to zoom down now. And you see this weird looking dragon looking thing with a top hat. Um, I assume that's one of the things. So let me get a drink of Coke Cola Zero here. Ah, there we go. And here we go. Okay. One of the top things, the Prairie State is a road tripper's paradise from the Botanic Garden of Chicago to the Illinois State Capitol in Springfield. There is a lot to see in Illinois when traveling by car, specifically those who like stopping to view roadside oddities and quirky monuments should consider visiting this Midwestern state. Whether passing or planning trip through Illinois, these roadside attractions are worth stopping for making great photo ops to show everyone back home. From the tad unusual to the downright quirky, these roadside attractions can only be found in the state of Illinois, the great state of Illinois. I wonder if the Superman statue might be on here. Let's see. Brooks ketchup bottle water tower at number 10. Brooks old original ketchup. And I call it ketchup because that's how they spell it. Sometimes it's catsup and sometimes it's ketchup. So,
I usually say catch up.
do you?
Yes.
Hmm. Dubbed the world's largest catsup bottle, the Brooks catsup bottle is actually a water tower in Collinsville, Illinois. Oh, that's not too far. Standing at 170 feet, this larger than life ketchup, see, they got it as ketchup or catsup, bottle has stood proudly for decades since its construction in 1949. Due to its long history, this unique water tower is recognized as a historic place and is found on the National Register of Historic Houses. Now, Amazon line, what would you think if you were driving by and saw this catsup bottle?
We'll take a picture, of course. I really do like, you know, big objects like that.
Yeah.
And I like the little minis that they made of things too. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I like miniatures. Well, you know I do. Because you know what? Every time I see a miniature, I go, yeah, that would be good for my action figures.
I even seen a little teeny tiny, like one of the world's smallest Bibles one time. It was the neatest thing.
Really?
Yeah, but you would have never been able to read it unless you had like zoom
So
in
it had,
zoom in glasses or something. You'd really have
hmm,
to have a, magnifying glass that zooms in really close because it was a teeny tiny thing. Probably I'd say the size of my thumbnail.
oh wow.
Oh yeah. And it
Now,
was really old and I thought it was so neat.
now that would be something to check out. World's greatest miniatures.
Right.
That would be kind of cool.
And I wanted so bad to read it because I wanted to see if it was different from any of the other Bibles I've read.
Wow. Can't
But I
believe it had
couldn't see
actual
it. It's
words in
too
it.
small.
Hmm.
It makes
So
you
yeah,
wonder how they would even get everything from the Bible, all those words in that teeny tiny Bible.
yeah,
Like,
and that's
that's
before they had
amazing.
like computer like printing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so it really caught my eye to see that. Like,
Yeah.
how in the world did they make this?
Well, I think they have miniature like little tools and stuff that they use for that kind of those very kind of things. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
I mean, with me, I'm interested in that because, yeah, I mean, Bibles are all different nowadays. So I like to read them all and, see what the differences are in them, even down to the Old English, New English, sobriety Bible. There's just so many out there. And it has, like the verses that are changed, or a verse that you never seen in the other ones. And yeah, I'm just very interested in things like that.
well now we have the Leaning Tower of Niles at number 9. The Leaning Tower of Niles. I don't think I've ever seen this.
I have not either.
Kind of looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa a little bit.
Yeah.
Just north of Chicago. That's why.
Ah.
So, just north of Chicago, this half-size replica of the Leaning Tower of Pisa contains some of the oldest bells in the United States and recently sold for $10. $10. That's it? $10? See below for my best attempt at summarizing this tower's unique history. The Leaning Tower of Niles, constructed in 1934 by a company called ILG, conceal a water tank used by nearby swimming pools. The tower and some surrounding land were donated to a nearby YMCA in the 1960s. Within the tower are 5 historic bells, 3 of which are believed to have been cast in Italy in the years 1623, 1735, and 1747. Wow. It remains a mystery how these bells arrived to the Chicago area, however. Evidence suggesting that some of the bells may have originally belonged to a church in the Italian town of Caves- Cavesso, about 150 miles away from Pisa. Okay, interesting. So it kind of does have a little to do with Pisa. In 1991, the Niles community established a sister city pact with the Italian town of Pisa. In 2015, the nearby YMCA sold the Leaning Tower to the village of Nile for $10. Seriously. Since then, the village has made significant investments and efforts to preserve the tower, restore its historic bells, and successfully get it listed as a National Historic Landmark. Wow. And there's more. Being an, hold on one second. Being an architectural marvel, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is always packed with tourists. Thankfully, visitors wanting to be away from the crowds will still enjoy this wonder can do so in Niles, Illinois. That's because Niles is home to the Leaning Tower of Niles, a replica of the Leaning Tower of Pisa at half the size. Easily take a photo in front of the tower without photo bombers when visiting this attraction. Plus, this monument sits near plenty of shops and eateries around Niles, making it a perfect resting stop. Well, there you go. Would you eat around the Tower of Niles?
Probably. Just to have it be like a learning experience.
Hmm. I would
Something new.
I would love to go there and get a few pictures, maybe a video.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. At number 8, we got Big Things, Small Town. Wow, look at that. Look at that golf club.
Bet you I could definitely get a hole in one with that thing. Now they
Yeah, I
just
mean,
need a big hole to match it.
yeah,
I'd have to have help holding it though.
I would say. Yeah. So this is what they mean by Casey. Stop by Casey for a couple of days to enjoy the charm of small Illinois town while admiring a series of large roadside attractions. This cozy town is proud to showcase 12 of the world's largest monuments, including a massive rocking chair, mailbox, barbershop pole, wind chime, a minion, and much, much more. Lovers of odd and unusual and giant roadside attractions won't want to miss an opportunity to venture to Casey to see their monstrous displays, which are found all across Casey's downtown area. I wonder what kind of letter you would send in a giant mailbox.
I don't know, but I did hear there's a giant burn cage somewhere too,
A giant
where
bird
you can
cage.
actually sit on the little perch
Hmm.
in the
Huh.
cave.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I had one of my kids go there.
Huh? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and she got to take a picture with her grandma sitting on the perch. It was pretty neat.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool
Uh,
too. I want to find out where it is. I want to go.
the only thing is, I would hate to have a giant Sylvester trying to eat me.
Yeah, I figured I'd just, you know, sit on the perch and whistle.
At number 7, Cozy Dog Drive-In. Sounds like a place where dogs go to watch movies, but I don't think that's what it is. What do you think?
I don't know.
Let's find out. Driving for long periods can be tiresome and boring, even if one is stopping at a quirky roadside attractions. More importantly, driving for a long time can build up an appetite. Those craving fast food while wanting to experience something historic can stop by the Cozy Dog Drive-In on Springfield just off Route 66.
Oh no, Route 66.
Route 66. This historic drive-in is low-key yet popular among visitors and locals, serving American fare like burgers, chili fries, and corn dogs. For over 70 years, the Cozy Dog Drive-In has been a staple along historic Route 66 and is worth stopping by to grab a bite. I wonder if they have Route 66 drinks.
Hmm. Interesting question.
Hmm?
Go Kart Bob says Donut Factory is live. Be right back. So,
Donut
speaking of food,
Hmm.
I'd be afraid to go to a donut factory. I might have to take a nap on one of their conveyor belts after I'm finished eating all the
Mhm.
donuts.
Well, you might be like Porky Pig, where they just come down and they slide right into your mouth.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
At number 6 is Henry's Rabbit Ranch. Hmm. Historic Route 60, another Route 66 thing. 66 Ranch. Disneyland is not the only happy place in the world. Just off Route 66 and Staten lies a popular attraction, Henry's Rabbit Ranch Home. This tourist attraction displays historic memorabilia of the old Route 66, which includes displays of vehicles, artifacts, road signs, and much more. Moreover, as its name suggests, there are a dozen cute and fluffy rabbits on the property too. Sounds like a place you'd like to visit.
Absolutely. I love animals.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, folks, but a lot more than people.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that sentiment.
Even, if I was to go to a little get together or party, I'm the woman that you'll see in the corner with the dog.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't blame you there. I identify better with animals than I do people, that's for sure. I don't identify as an animal though, just identify better with them. Just saying. Okay, number 5 we have Cas Kakas Kakaski Dragon?
Kaskaskia?
Kakaskia?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like a big old metal dragon and also looks like a big old metal robot there too. About to fight the dragon. Everyone wishes everyone wishes dragons were real. However, the second best option is to marvel at the Kakaskia dragon in Vandalia. This popular monument resembles a mighty beast only heard of in myth and fantasy tales, shining brightly due to its metal structure with occasional fire breathing capabilities. Wow. After driving long hours across Illinois, take a braver and visit the Kaskaskia Dragon, a perfect photo opportunity for both kids and the young at heart. So, have you ever seen this Kaskaskia Dragon live in person?
No, I have not, but I imagine with gas prices that he doesn't breathe fires often anymore.
Well, probably not. No. But do you imagine that one day we could take a trip to see such a thing?
Yeah, that would be neat.
Vandalia is not too far. It's kind of far, but not so much that we can't go visit. I've been there once or twice. Never heard of the Kankaskia Dragon, though. Look at this.
All right. My kind of swing set.
10-person swing. Look at all that. Could you imagine having that in our backyard?
I get first pick on swing.
Huh. Bring 9 other friends and enjoy the 10-person swing, which can be easily found in Illinois, Granite City. Not meant for the solo traveler, road trippers visiting Granite City and a group will enjoy having their picture taken while swinging on this massive swing, serving as an interactive piece of art, which is actually named a giant swing for all my friends. So there you have it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think I'll take just 8 friends because I want 2 swings.
You want 2 swings?
Yeah, I
For
need my backside for one, and then I need another one for my feet.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Kind of swing
Interesting.
sideways. I used to do that as a kid.
Hmm. We've got a little bit of footage here that took place not too long ago at the park. We might show that on. I might put that together and then show it on next week's show.
Yes, we should definitely show that.
At number 3, you have the Gemini Giant. Oh wow! Look at this guy. What the hell? He's carrying an American flag and looks like some kind of bomb. And
Was that a toy space rocket?
I don't know, but he's got like this helmet on. Looks like a protective helmet of some kind and a surgical scrubs. I don't know. Let's read about this. Don't be afraid of the Gemini giant standing at 30 feet. This smiling giant is a popular landmark in Wilmington, just off US Route 66. Carrying a rocket ship in his hands, the Gemini giant greets curious visitors on their way to Wilmington. This friendly photo worthy giant is beside the town's famous restaurant, the Launching Pad Drive-In. After taking a couple of snapshots with the monument, stop by the Launching Pad for some no frills American fare. I gotta tell you, if I saw this thing on the side of the road somewhere, I would have to stop and take a picture of him.
That's not a Gemini giant. That's an astronaut nurse. It's a new career field.
An astronaut
It's a
nurse,
new
huh?
college course.
Yeah. Is that the one they teach you how to
And that astronaut nurse works for the United States. See,
mhm. I think the astronaut nurse is
but
working
he
on.
won't go nowhere without his toy rocket ship.
Well, I think this is what I was going to say. I think the astronaut nurse is working on learning how to inject giant suppositories up people. That's why he's got
Oh
the
no!
that's why he's got the protective helmet on. See?
Their new the latest suppository. They shoot up there real fast.
Yeah.
They work in 0.0001 seconds. Better be sitting down on the pot when you insert file stories.
Right. Be shooting up through the roof. Oh boy. After eating at the launching pad, of course. Anyway, let's move on. Okay. That number two, we have the D Dimulin. Dimulin? What's that word?
It looks to be dim. Well, I know that it would be demo, but dimulin? Dimulin?
Dimulin. Dimulin Museum. Well, let's read up on it and see maybe why it's called Dimulin. I see a blood pressure machine there, looks like, and a wheelchair,
Wow, that's so cool.
some other stuff. I don't know what those are, but let's read up on it. Located in Greenville on Prairie Street, the Demulin Museum is a place of wacky fun and roadside odysseys. Founded in 2010, this is one of a kind museum pays tribute to the unique products made by Demulin Bros and Company. See, that's why I couldn't pronounce it because it's a company I've never heard of. Um, Purveyors of marching band uniforms, graduation cap, lodge furniture, and other goods. Okay. Um, I didn't see any of that in there. I guess this is, I don't know.
It'd
Um,
be interesting to visit and find out. Get some
yeah,
pictures and
yeah,
video footage.
for sure. Now, where was I? And other goods, specifically those that take the time to explore the museum, can see unusual canis can control contraptions. Okay, that's what that word is. Contraptions. Contraptions like the invisible paddle machine, a lifting and spraying machine, and a bucking goat. Okay, I guess that's what this stuff is up here. These paddles, the paddling, the invisible
Yeah.
paddling. I mean, you could see them, but okay. And all these other gadgets here, what they mentioned. Okay. Um, interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. And we are at the last one. World's largest antique broom collection. Okay. World's largest antique broom collection. Read 'em and sweep. Instead of, read 'em and weep. Get it?
Right.
Travelers who frequent visitors of roadside oddities are all aware that there are museums dedicated to anything, and the world's largest antique broom collection is no exception. Located in Arcola, visitors can admire the town's collection of antique brooms, over 1,000 at the Arcola Historic Train Depot. Additionally, this Amish town is worth a visit as they have other attractions like the world's one and only hippie memorial and displays of Raggedy Ann dolls. Ooh, I don't know if I'd want to look at those Raggedy Ann dolls. Those might be kind of creepy, knowing that one of those dolls, maybe just might be a little haunted. I don't know.
I've
Ah,
always loved Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy.
I did too until you know I found out later that there was this huge Raggedy Ann doll that was haunted by the name of Annabelle.
Yeah.
You know, just saying. And that was before any of the movies had come out. I had paid attention to that stuff a long time ago.
Well, we would definitely need those big brooms
Yeah, to get them
after
wet.
we got done trying to well, let's see. We'll give the astronaut nurse that giant cupcake that we have around our area,
Oh, that's right. You know what?
and we use those giant brooms to sweep up the crumbs.
I'm surprised that giant cupcake's not on the list.
Yeah,
That's a big old cupcake.
that is a big cupcake we have.
Hmm. So there you have it. There's the uh, 10 quirky roadside oddities around the Illinois that you can go visit. So, oops, didn't mean to get it back to that. So, what do you think about all those?
It was interesting. I would love to go see all those things. You know, like I said, I have a fascination with giant stuff all the way down to teeny tiny miniatures of everything.
Well, there's good old Philo Fire. Philo Fire, how you?
Hello, Philo Fire.
No,
Hugs
I
to
tell you,
you.
Go Kart Bob says Donut is all about Illuminati news. Well, I've never heard of Donut.
I
Um,
would be. I would watch it. I
yeah,
would listen.
and
Yeah,
the
I'm an Illuminati person. You know, I've read up and watched all kinds of things about that.
hmm well, remember whenever I forget where it was. I think it was in one of my videos or something. I accidentally said Illumin Illumini instead of Illuminati. Remember that?
Yeah.
I forgot which video that was in, but it was quite hilarious. So there's this thing. So there's that which I didn't know about, and there's something else that Michael Fontaine talks about sometimes that these guys like to watch, and I don't know what it is either. Um, but I'm gonna have to keep up on these things. I'm gonna have to see what all's so good about some of these channels these guys go and visit when we're not here, or when we are here and someone else is on at the time that I wasn't aware of. So anyway, I used to be subscribed to all of those channels and stuff, and uh, you know, there's a lot of those people who got taken down off of YouTube for sharing a lot of that stuff, and Dan's channel, Scare Performance, his got taken down not too long ago, and he had to restart everything, and so he doesn't really do any broadcast anymore. Suso doesn't do broadcast anymore. Timcast, I don't see any Timcast anymore. I think his channel got taken down. There were a lot of those channels that I used to be aware of and used to watch, and there's a lot out there that I've never heard of. And I'm sure there's a lot that a lot of us haven't heard of and stuff like that. But I'll have to check that out. I have to check out the Donut channel sometime.
Yeah, they're making everybody be very careful on how they talk about different topics. So, I mean, to me, it feels like you gotta really be careful how you talk about it.
Well, the thing is, and the Quarterling is doing this too, where he's talking about jumping to a different platform. And the thing is, when you switch a different platform, not every time does all your followers follow you over to that platform. And that's the sad thing. And if you're just starting out on YouTube, it's one thing, you have a rough go about it, and then yeah, maybe you might want to just go ahead and jump over to a platform. But if you've got so many followers and you've made a name for yourself already, it's really tough to jump over to another platform and just restart everything. And I hear big names now. Big names can do it a lot easier. People like the Quarterling and Timcast and all those guys, but when you got a small channel like mine, it's just not as easy.
Right.
So with that being said, um, you know, do you have anything personal you wanted to share? Was there a big milestone perhaps in your life?
Well, my teenager this week and went to, she was in a parade and then she went to homecoming dance.
Hmm. That's a big step.
And that wasn't just a big step for her, that was a big step for me because that's my last one out of four. And it just lets me know that, they're not children anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you go from watching children and always active to, them being grown up and more grown up, and you don't have as much to do anymore. You gotta learn new things to do, learn yourself and what my interests are. What do I enjoy doing? Because I've been a parent for, 25 years now. So it's different.
Well, here's the thing.
And, it's sad watching them grow up, but at the same time, I am so thankful that they are all here. They are all, hopefully reaching, the goals that they need to reach in life to have a successful one. And
And
they're doing it in the best ways possible. I pray that they, listen to the positive things I taught them and become their best selves.
and here's the thing is that these are the years where they're going to be who they're going to be going forward from now on is what they who they are now, because I can remember those years. Those are the formable years. Those are the years where you are who you are going forward, meaning you build a life for yourself, meaning you you remember the high school years, you remember those years more so than you do like first grade and middle school and all of that stuff. That's the like I could barely even remember middle school or even uh, I remember some stuff from seventh and eighth grade, but not very much, not as much as I can remember from my high school years. And that's the years where you plant your feet in the ground, you make friends, you get your first job, you drive your first car, you come into your adult years, so to speak, in those 4 years. So it definitely is a big step in a direction. And I hear what you're saying, and it's definitely hard to see them leave the nest, what they say, how you say it, and but sometimes that's when you gotta, and as well as I do, you gotta give them that little shove, that little nudge, if you will, out of the nest, and that's where they either have to fly or die. I don't mean literally, but like, where they have to fly or
Yeah,
crash.
I think one of the strangest things for me is raising them all the same, but some, listened to my advice and they're doing fantastic, and some of the others didn't want to listen at all and seem not to like me much and want to learn life the hard way.
Yeah.
So, it's really taught me a lot about individuality. Like, just because they are my children, you know, they're still all individuals. They all still come with choices. And for me, all I can do is, like I said, pray that they make the best choices and remember all the best morals and values to make their life go well that I've taught them.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's all you can really do as a parent is guide them, to the water. You can't force them to
Right.
drink.
Yeah. I mean, the metaphor that it keeps getting used with me is you can lead a horse to water, Amazon line, but honey, you can't make them drink. So that's been one of my big lessons as a parent.
So, on the other hand, it is, around that time of year where it's almost Halloween time. It is approaching us fast and vast. And got a couple stories here. We talked about myths and legends and monsters and stuff of that nature. And I have a few stories here. One of the stories I want to talk about is, excuse me, sorry about that, folks, but the Coke Zero's kicking in. But one of the stories would be, you always hear about vampires and the Night of the Dead and stuff like that, and you hear the lores and folk tales surrounding the vampires, and and actually, uh, back in the '90s, there was this whole trend of teenagers, and I think I was around at that time when this whole trend was going on of people actually wanting to be vampires. They were acting like vampires. They were doing vampire like actions. They were drinking the blood. They were doing occultic type things and stuff like that. Now I don't want to get into all of that, of course, but there is truth behind the legend. And what I
I
do
was
want
into
to do,
vampires when I was younger, in my younger teenage years,
hmm yeah, that
and
was,
in my early 20s.
hmm yeah, that was definitely a fad back in the '90s and early 2000s.
And I was one of those that, sometimes I dress goth, sometimes emo, just depending. Pretty much my dress code is I dress how I feel. If I feel cute, I dress cute. If I, feel casual, I dress casual. If I'm feeling sexy, I dress sexy. It's just, it all depends on my mood from day to day on how I dress. And also where I'm going, of course. And then vampires, eventually led me to think about immortality. And I always have wanted to be immortal, even though I'm not afraid to die. I feel like being immortal and watching centuries and centuries pass, and all the changes that all this you go through in the centuries would be pretty cool. But I've also heard that immortality is evil, so I don't want to go the evil route.
Well, immortality is only evil if you do it the way it's in the flesh. Immortality, as it's in the Bible that Jesus is immortal and he passed on that gift on to us. And at the end times, when everything ends, if we follow Jesus, we will have that gift of being uh, immoral, but not in the flesh sense, but in the spiritual sense,
Right.
in
I
the
mean,
way
I would
that
like
he
to
was.
do it in the flesh sense,
It
but
would be.
I
We will
know it
have
would be against God too,
we will have
and
eternal. We will have eternal life.
right.
is what Jesus promised. But I don't want to get, like I said, I wasn't going to get into all of that. I wasn't going to get into all of the occultism and all that, the stuff that goes with it. I just a basic understanding of vampires, and not necessarily like we just talked about, but vampires, how they came to be, how the myth was formed, how the legends were formed around vampires. And I've always found vampires interesting, and not those kind of vampires, but the ones that you read in the books and you see in the movies and stuff like that. So, with no further ado, that's really what I wanted to get into.
Go kart Bob says he's going to the car parts store. How should he dress? Pajamas. If it's nighttime, pajamas.
So we have here sort of a summary, and I'm going to read all of this. So you guys, you sit back, relax, grab yourself some snacks because we're really going to get into it with this reading. So vampire, legendary creature. Summary: vampire, also spelled VAMP. Excuse me. Wow. Spelled VAMPYRE, and popular legend, a creature often fanged that preys upon humans, generally by consuming their blood. Vampires have been featured in folklore and fiction of various cultures for hundreds of years, predominantly in Europe, although belief in them has huh has waned in modern times. Okay, I've never belief in them. I'm sorry. Although belief in them has waned. I guess that means wavered, it's gone, it's sort of mellowed out. I really don't believe that. I think, just like we were talking about, it basically changed forms. Instead of vampires draining the blood of their victims, in modern times, it has become vampires draining the essence of your soul, or the essence of your energy. You know, I think that is more characteristic of the modern vampires. But I digress. Let's move on here.
Well, it's interesting. I didn't know they had two spellings for it.
What?
I didn't know they had two spellings for vampire.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
It's
That's it.
interesting.
Yes. Characteristics. Because there is a long history of walking corpse and blood sucking ghouls in folklore, it is difficult to pin down a distinct set of characteristics consistently attributed to only vampires. Central to vampire myth, however, is the consumption of human blood or other essence such as bodily fluids or physical energy. Ugh. Yeah, see, there's that physical energy part that I just talked about, followed closely by the possession of sharp teeth or fangs with which to faclit oh, I hate words. facilitate facilitate this task. And most depictions, vampires are undead, that is to say, having been somehow revived after death, and many are said to rise nightly from their graves or coffins, often necessarily containing their native soil. Vampires are typically said to be of pale skin and range in appearance from grotesque to permaturally beautiful, depending on the tale. Another frequently cited physical characteristic is the inability to cast a reflection or shadow, which often translate into an inability to be photographed or recorded on film. And I think we've talked about this before about the whole, seeing yourself in the mirror or having a mirror reflection, and how that was also indicative of other creatures as well, such as like a demon or something. And and actually, one of my favorite cartoons of all time, Thundercats. Um, the storyline is the bad guy, the evil bad guy, Mumra. If he looks into a mirror, he scares himself, and then he's forced to retreat or to run away, and then he turns back into a decayed form, which I always found interesting. Anyway, getting back on topic here, a person may become a vampire in a variety of ways, the most common of which is to be bitten by a vampire. Other methods include sorcery, committing suicide, uh, cognition, or having a cat jump over a person's corpse. I never heard of that one. That's that's interesting. Some people believe that babies born with teeth or on Christmas or between Christmas and Em- Epiphany, what were uh, pre predisposed to becoming vampires. While vampires usually do not die of disease or other normal human afflictions, and they are indeed often said to have faster than normal healing capabilities, there are various methods for their destruction. The most popular of those include a wooden stake through the heart, fire, decapitation, and exposure to sunlight. Vampires are often depicted as being repelled by garlic, running water, or Christian impalements such as crucifix and holy water. In some stories, vampires may enter a home only if they've been invited, and in others, they may be distracted by the scattering of objects such as seeds or grains that they are compelled to count, thereby enabling potential victims to escape. So there is where you get the Count Dracula, where he sits there and he has to count every single grain. I think that's also another horror story, person or mythical creatures weakness is that you throw grains at them and they have to sit there and count them. Can't remember which one that was.
Are you sure that was vampires?
I mean, this is what this is saying. Um,
Hmm. Well, I wouldn't have to worry about inviting a vampire in because I hardly invite anybody over to my house.
no, yeah,
Very seldom do I see people here, so I wouldn't have to worry about accidentally inviting a vampire in.
I would.
I,
I wouldn't have to worry about that either. But you know,
I want a placemat that says "Go away," or
but I
not a placemat, but a doormat.
right.
To
No, I was
wipe your feet on.
sitting here thinking about the counting of grains. You think about like vampires. You think about that the count. From Sesame Street going 1 grain, 2 grains,
Right.
3 grains, ha
That'd be
ha ha
great.
ha ha, 4 grains, ha 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 ha. You know, just saying. I don't know something about that. But now let's.
And that's when you wait till he's almost done, and then you pick it up and throw it back down, and then he's got to start over.
Yeah, and then you actually hear like a Sesame Street character cuss. Oh shit! Now I got to start all over. now we're gonna get into history of the vampires. So here we go. History. Creatures with vampire characteristics have appeared at least as far back as ancient Greece, where stories were told of centuries that attacked people in their sleep and drained their bodily fluids. Or,
Creatures.
huh?
Creatures that attacked people. You said centuries.
Oh,
Well, centuries attacks people too.
well, it says where stories were told. I thought it was saying stories were told from centuries. So I didn't. Yeah,
You're all good.
I didn't
Just
catch
trying
that.
to crack a joke.
I see. That attacked people in their sleep and drained their bodily fluids. Tales of the walking corpse that drank the blood of the living and speared plague flourished in the medieval European in times of disease and people lacking a modern understanding of infectious diseases came to believe that those who became vampires preyed first upon their own families. Research from the 20th and 21st centuries has, I don't know, where was I? Has decided that the characteristics associated with vampires can be tracked back to certain diseases such as per- porphyria, which makes one sensitive to sunlight, tuberculosis, tube, tuber, tu-
Tuberculosis.
tuberculosis. Okay, there it is. Tuberculosis, which causes wasting. Uh, pal- what's that word?
Pelagra?
Pellagra, a disease that thins the skin, and rabies, which causes bites and general sensitivity that could lead to repulsion by light or garlic. See, that's interesting that like they came up with these vampire myths about being, sensitive to sunlight, and rabies is one of the diseases that does, in fact, make you allergic to sunlight. Vampire myths were especially popular in Eastern Europe, and the world vampire most likely originated from the region. Digging up the bodies of suspected vampires was practiced in many cultures throughout Europe, and it is thought that the nocturnal characteristics of decomposition, decomposition such as receding gums and the appearance of growing hair and fingernails reinforced the beliefs that corpses were in fact continuing some manner of life after death. Also, possibly contributing to the belief was the pronouncement of death for people who were not dead because of the constraints of medical diagnosis at the time. People who were very ill or sometimes even very drunk and in a coma or in shock were thought dead and later miraculously recovered, sometimes too late to prevent their burial. Belief in vampires led to such rituals as staking corpses through the heart before they were buried. In some cultures, the dead were buried face down to prevent them from finding their way out of graves. The modern incarnation of vampire myth seems to have stemmed largely from Gothic European literature of the 18th and 19th centuries, about the time vampire hysteria was peaking in Europe. Vampiric figures appeared in 18th century poetry such as Heinrich August Ozen Ozenfeld's Der Vampire, 1748, about a seemingly vampiric narrator who seduces an innocent maiden. Vampire poems begin appearing in English about the turn of the 19th century, such as John Saggy. I mean, I said Saggy. John Stagge. Man, these pages are getting smaller. John Staggs, The Vampire, 1810, and Lord Byron's The Gyrer, 1813. The first prose vampire story published in English is believed to be John Polistor's The Vampire, 1819, about a mysterious uh, aristoc- ar- uh, aristocrat named Lord Ru- Reuven who seduces young women only to drain their blood and disappear. Sounds familiar. Those works and others inspired subsequent materials for the stage. Later important vampire stories include the serial Varney the Vampire or the Feast of Blood, 1845 through 1847, and The Mysterious Stranger, 1853, which are cited as possible early influences of Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1897, which is one of my favorite vampire movies. Is Bram Stoker's Dracula. And Theophile Grutters, Got Gotters, La Morte, Amoros, 1836, The Dead Lover, and Sheridan Lafon is Kamala, 1871 to 72, which established the vampire female uh, fatal, fatal.
Femi Fatale,
Thank
maybe.
you, man. All right, looks like we got one, two. Holy cow!
My goodness.
Three more paragraphs there to read. Let's see.
Would you like some help?
I'm trying to. Where was I even at? Oh my gosh. I don't know.
You're right there.
Did I read all this?
Starting with Dracula is
Oh yeah.
arguably.
Well, let me yeah, why don't you go ahead and read some. No, you know what? Let me read this part and then I'll stop after Dracula in turn inspired the film Nosferatu.
All right.
All right. Dracula is arguably the most important work of vampire fiction. The tale of the Transylvania Count who uses supernatural abilities, including mind control and shape shifting, to prey upon innocent victims, inspired countless works thereafter. Many popular vampire characteristics, such as methods of survival and destruction, vampires as Aris, air, air is tar, air is crassy. Air, what's that word? Hello?
Where we at?
Vampires,
Vampires as
Eris,
aristocracy?
is Strath, is
Aristocracy? aristocracy.
Stocracy.
Aristocracy.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that was a hard word. It,
Well, mine's more or less is just tiny,
yeah.
hard to read.
It's it's hard for me when I come across certain words that I don't see every day. You know what I mean? And then like to see them actually on page to read out loud. That's what my problem is. Is like I see it and I know what the word is. I just can't say it. See, that's I have a huge problem with that. Anyway, and even vampires being of European origins were solidified in this popular novel, and especially through its 1931 film adaptation starring Hungarian born actor Bela Lugosi. The novel itself thought by some to have been inspired in part by the cruel acts of the 15th century Prince Vlad III, Dracula of Transylvania, also known as the Impaler, and Countess Elizabeth Baffery, who was believed to have murdered dozens of young women during the 16th and 17th century in order to bathe and possibly drink their blood so as to preserve her own vitality. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. Well, I've seen that movie. I've seen the movie. I think that was in Bram Stoker's Dracula before they did this. Before Bela Lugosi. I mean, after Bela Lugosi had played Dracula, but the book was before, of course. But anyway, if you'll get the next whatchamadoodle, I'm gonna go grab myself a drink and settle down here. Is that
All
cool?
right, sounds good.
You're probably a better reader than I am.
But I think I'm echoing again.
Huh?
Am I echoing?
No, you're
Oh.
good.
Dracula, in turn, inspired the film Nosferatu, 1922, in which a vampire was first depicted as being vulnerable to sunlight. Other aspects of the movie, however, were so similar to Stoker's. He be Stokers. He's Stoker to the left, and he's Stoker to the right, and he's Stoker to the victims that he loves the best. Is that how it went? How'd it go? Father Fire, you might know. Anyway, um, however, we're so similar to Stoker's novel that his widow sued for copyright infringement. And many copies of the film were subsequently destroyed. For several decades, the vast majority of vampire fiction, whether on page or stage or screen, showed the influence of Dracula. Both the novel and its film version spawned several direct sequels and spin offs, including the film Dracula's Daughter, 1936, and a number of Hammer films, including Dracula 1958, also known as Horror of Dracula, which starred Christopher Lee in the title role. Vampires become popular characters in pulp magazines and appeared in stories such as the Sherlock Holmes tale, The Adventure of Sussex Vampire, 1924. In 2009, the original author's great grandnephew, Decray Stoker, and Ian Holt published a sequel called Dracula, The Undead Using Notes and Exorcisms from Dracula. Oh, Excisions from Dracula.
All right. You need me to scroll down? Is that what's going on?
Yes, I need you to scroll down, please.
And you mentioned Bram Stoker. I always, for some reason, every time I say Bram Stoker, I always want to say Bram Stroker. I don't, I don't know why.
Well, that's why I was trying to sing that song, but I done forgot the lyrics to Stroking.
Oh boy. But my favorite vampire of all time is Bela Lugosi. He was my favorite. That's the very first Dracula movie I ever saw when I was a little kid was the black and white Dracula, and it was one of my favorites. Okay, is
All
that
right.
whoops?
Oh,
Hold
you
on.
passed it up.
Okay, is
There
that
we
good?
go.
Okay.
In the 20th century, vampires began to turn from being depicted as predominantly animalistic creatures and instead displayed a broader range of human characteristics. Ray Bradbury explored the sympathetic portrayal of what can be thought of as monsters, including vampires. In Homecoming, 1946, a story about a normal boy with a family of fantastical creatures. The popular American television soap opera Dark Shadows, 1966 to 1971, featured a love-lorn vampire, Barnabas Collins. In 1975, Fred Saberhagen published The Dracula Tape, a retelling of Stoker's story from the
Oh,
misunderstood villain's point of
you
view.
said strokers again.
Stoker's story from the misunderstood villain's point of view. Vampire fiction entered a new era, however, with the sympathetic portrayal by Anne Rice in her novel Interview with the Vampire,
Okay, stop right
1976.
there. Okay, read that again. Read this part right here again.
Where are we at?
The name of the book.
Interview with the Vampire?
Interview with the Vampire.
Yes.
You see that right there
I
is.
remember it being not the.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, I was just going to say that's a major Mandela effect.
Yes, it is.
Did you know that before you read that though?
I didn't.
No?
I mean, I kind of thought about it, but I just kind of just pushed it to the wayside, kind of ignored it.
Right.
But then you mentioned it, and I was like, I wasn't the only one thinking about that.
No, it is. It's a huge Mandela effect. It was Interview with a Vampire the way I remembered it.
Yeah, that's the way I remember it.
Okay.
Rice's book introduced the world to vampires that were brooding and self loathing and squabbled like humans. While Rice's vampires were more vulnerable emotionally than vampires previously had been, they were less vulnerable physically, susceptible only to daylight and fire and the death of the first of their kind, and possessed superhuman beauty, speed, and senses. Interview with the Vampire was highly popular and sparked a revival of vampire fiction that lasted into the 21st century. And subsequent vampire stories continued to use characteristics established by Rice. Rice herself wrote several more books in what subsequently became known as the Vampire Chronicles, some of it which were later adopted for film.
Okay, let's see here. Oh man. Okay, I'm going to
There you go.
I'm going to do some more reading here.
Okay.
If I get stuck, I'll ask you for direction.
All righty.
See, my problem is, as I said, when I read a word that I don't recognize, it's something that I'm not used to seeing in print, but it could be something as simple as I don't know. It could be a real simple word that we use every day, but if I don't see it in print, it's really hard for me to enunciate that word.
Well, mine is more or less repeating a word or stuttering a word
Mhm.
because I literally was stroking 4 years ago, heart wise.
Right.
And I've had a stroke and 3 heart attacks. So I'm thankful that it didn't take, more than it has and that I'm still here and breathing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the way that my reading is. I
Mhm.
used to have perfect vocabulary skills and I could read like a champ. But these days I get kind of
Well,
stuttery, but I've accepted that and that's okay.
you're still better than I am. That's for sure.
So
The
shall we
the
read
va-
on?
the vampire as a misunderstood romantic hero picked up steam in the latter part of the 20th century, particularly in the United States in 1978. Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough began publishing her series of Count Saint Germain books, the main character of which the vampire of Morel character, whose bite is an erotic experience. In many tales, vampires are characterized as promiscuous, their appetite for human blood, paralleling their sexual appetite. In 1991, Laurie Herder published Obsession, one of the first vampire novels to be categorized as a romance rather than science fiction, fantasy, or horror. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I will admit I liked the movie, but I didn't like the TV show. A television show in which the title character has a star-crossed romance with a vampire aired from 1997 to 2003. Vampire romances also appeared in the steamy HBO television series True Blood, which I've never seen, based on Charlene Harris's Sookie Stackhouse book series. Vampire romance for teens gained popularity at the end of the 20th century and beginning of 21st century with books such as Vampire Diaries series by L.J. Smith and The Twilight Saga, yuck, by Stephanie Meyer. The Saga, with its high school romance and vampires that sparkle in the sun rather than bursting into flames, became a cultural sensation, ensuring a vampire trend for years to come. Vampire relationships of a different sort were explored in the novel Lat den Rate Kanama and 2004 Let the Right One In by John Aj- Advide uh, Lin Lindvist Lindquist and which the main characters are a perpetually childlike vampire and a young boy she befriends and helps fend off bullies. The book was adapted for film in Sweden in 2008 and the United States as Let Me In. Oh, that's what that was. And 2010. Vampires also enjoyed popularity as unlikely action heroes. Blade, half vampire superhero who first appeared in comic books, was the focus of three films: 1998, 2002, 2004. Another popular film series, Underworld, 2003, 2006, 2009, 2012, explored an ongoing war between vampires and werewolves. Dracula himself, known instead as Alucard, Dracula, spelled backwards, that's what I thought, even became an action hero in the Japanese uh, man manga and anime. Hellsing Angel, the vampire with a soul, and the love interest of Buffy the Vampire Slayer's title character, became the star of his own spin-off television series in which he acts as private detective. 1999 to 2004. Did not know about that one. Um, seemed to lost my cigarette there. Um, where was I?
You would know if you didn't drop your cigarette.
Became an action hero in Japanese. Okay. And the tabletop role playing game Vampire The Masquerade, first published 1991, which contributed words such as sire, a vampire's uh, pro, prog, progenitor, pro, prognet, progenitor, progenitor, and embraced the act of making a new vampire to the vampire lexicon. Wow. Allowed players to create their own vampire worlds and pit warring vampire factions against one another. Hmm. Okay. Although vampires had, by the 20th century, largely became creatures of fantasy, urban myths about vampires continued to persist. As late as the early 20th century, some villages in Bulgaria still practiced corpse impaling, and the 1960s and 70s, a vampire was believed to haunt Highgate Cemetery in London, and in the early 21st century, rumors of vampires caused uproar and Maui and England alike. Whew. Okay. There's a lot to there's a lot to take in here.
Yes, there is.
Um And that pretty much that ends the story. But man, there's a lot to take in there. I'll say one thing. You could skip all of your vampire drama and save it for your mama. You could take all that Twilight Saga bull crap and shove it down the drain and toilet. I'll take a good old fashioned Dracula, blood sucking, hypnotizing stake through the heart movie any day over any of those, and that's my opinion. How about you?
Well, as you know, growing up, I didn't get to watch much TV. Was mostly the outside kid or inside doing chores and schoolwork. So I didn't get the opportunity to watch a whole lot of old vampire movies. But I think I did go ahead and get and then by the time that I was grown, I had children, so I mostly watched cartoons, a lot of Disney films especially. But the ones that I did get a chance to watch, of course, were all the Twilights. I thought that the storyline was okay, but I didn't really get into the characters like so many people did, like slobbering over what they looked like or whatever. And then I did get a chance to see, um, oh, shoot. And I can't remember. It was one of the last few there in the last couple paragraphs.
Buffy.
No, well, yeah, I mean, I've seen Buffy. Wasn't real big into it. I've
Hmm.
just really not gotten too much into actual vampire movies. I think it was because I'm a reader. So I think it was more books, in the lore behind the vampires.
Mhm.
Like the sucking of the blood or how they sleep in coffins or, you can kill them with the stake and keep them away with garlic or, the
Mhm.
whole holy water thing.
Well, the thing is, they forgot to mention the funny movies they made on vampires, like one of Jim Carrey's. I think Jim Carrey's very first movie, I think, was Twice Bitten or Once Bitten. I think it was Once Bitten. That was a pretty good vampire movie and had some comedy in it. And that was sort of about a seductive vampiress um, type of deal. And then there was the other one that I find very hilarious was Mel Brooks, Dead and Loving It. I thought that was a pretty good vampire movie.
Yeah, I've never seen that one. I probably seen bits and pieces of like Nosferatu,
Hmm.
but I think I remember him more because of a SpongeBob
SpongeBob.
that little skit
Yeah,
they did where he was turning the lights on and off.
that was hilarious. Yeah. Nosferatu. No, I have been meaning I have not actually watched that, the movie, I mean. But I've been meaning the new one came out I think a couple of years ago, a few years ago, and I've been meaning to watch it, but I just never really had the opportunity or never really, caught it
Well,
on
there
TV
actually,
anywhere.
I changed my mind. There is one that I really got into, and that is Queen of the Damned.
Hmm.
That one I would have to say is my favorite out of all of them. I thought it was pretty cool.
I've never heard of that one. But one thing I did watch growing up was some werewolf movies. I liked Werewolf in London. I liked the Werewolf. That was with Jack Nicholson. And then I think there was one just simply titled Werewolf, and I think that was with Nick Nolte. I can't remember. It might have been titled something else besides Werewolf, but I know that was with Nick Nolte. And then, of course, there was American Werewolf in London, and then there was the uh, American or the London Werewolf in America or something of that nature. But um, werewolves also, werewolves kind of tie into vampires a little bit, and some of the
Yeah, probably the
that happened,
only
some of the lore that happened with vampires is the same with werewolves. Where if a werewolf bites a human being, then that human being becomes a werewolf. It's the same thing with vampires. If a vampire bites a human being, becomes a vampire. What now? What were you going to say?
Oh, I was gonna say when it comes to werewolves, about the only werewolf shows that I've watched is, of course, Twilight. There was a werewolf in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Teen Wolf,
Teen Wolf.
and trying to think if there's any other. Oh, and then of course any kind of werewolf that type that would have been on like Supernatural. The
Mm-hmm.
series Supernatural.
Series
But
Supernatural.
other than that, that's about all the werewolf movies I've ever seen.
I did like Teen Wolf, the movie Teen Wolf. We're talking about, right? The movie,
Yes.
not the MTV TV show, right?
No.
Okay, good.
This was, the
When you get that
1980s
straight,
1980s movie, right?
Yeah, because there is a MTV TV show that took place, I think, back in 2012 or 2013. It was called Teen Wolf, and what they were trying to do there is they were trying to copy sort of like that Twilight formula is what they were trying to do with it, and it sucked. It was no good. It sucked. Um, but anyway, getting back to wolves, werewolves specifically, I have an article here about werewolves and where the lore comes from. Would you like to start off the article?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, here we go. Here is Wolves Among Us. Okay, there it is. It's from CNET. I'll let you go ahead and get us started.
Alrighty. Wolves Among Us. 5 real-life werewolves from history. These days, werewolves can be fun, exciting, and even a little sexy. But in early modern period Europe, they were deemed a very real and dangerous threat. Werewolf accusations were not entirely uncommon in Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries. Werewolf and witch hysteria sort of developed in tandem. Indeed, some people were even accused of both. Such accusations and the subsequent confessions and executions were often politically expedient. How do you say? But
Where you
sometimes
at?
the fear was absolutely warranted, whether the danger lurked clad in the fur of a wolf or the clothes of a man. Here, in celebration of Halloween, are 5 of the most famous werewolves from history. Content warning. History was awful. This article touches on murder, mutilation, torture, incest, and animal cruelty. The Beast of Guavadan. Would that be it? This
Mhm.
in the 18th century, the former French province of Guavadan was terrorized by the so-called Le Bête du Guavadan, the Beast of Guavadan. The beast was first spotted by a woman tending cattle in the forest near Langogne in June. Her bulls scared it off, but not long after it attacked and killed a 14-year-old girl. Over the ensuing months, sightings and attacks mounted. Those who had seen the beast described a large wolf with unusual red fur streaked with black, and it was prolific. According to a 1980 study, there were 210 attacks in all, 113 of which were fatal. In 1765, King Louis XV decreed that the French state would help slay the beast. When the appointed professional wolf hunters, Jean-Charles Marc Antoinette Vamulese de Agneval and his son Jean Francos failed to kill the beast, the king sent lieutenant of the hunt Francos Antoine instead. Antoine slayed 3 giant gray wolves, yet the attacks still continued. It wasn't until a local hunter named Jean Castel shot a wolf on June 19th, 1767, that the attacks were declared over. Nowadays, it is thought that the beast of Guavadan wasn't a single wolf at all, but many individual wolves. When France went on a wolf-killing rampage, these wolves were slain one by one until none were left, and the attacks abated. Not that killer wolves were unusual. According to historian Jean Marc Morocco, some 7,600 people were. I'll need you to scroll up. Let's see, where was I?
7,600.
Is that right? People were killed by wolves in France between 1362 and 1918.
Hmm. That's an interesting kind of werewolf type thing. Also, I do believe that's supposed to be King Louis.
Is it?
King Louis the 15th. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's seems like that's the when you hear about the little boy that cried wolf,
Oh
it,
yeah. I
it,
tell
it
my kids that story all the time.
kind of makes you think, about this time was when seems like wolves were probably running pretty rampant back then, and that you think about it, this is probably about when the story came from about the little boy that cried wolf.
Interesting.
But I'll go ahead and I'll read this one.
Alrighty, and while you read that, I'm going to step out for a personal reason for a few moments.
All right. All right. We'll see you in a minute. Okay. The Livanine werewolf. Excuse me. Oh man, hang on 1 second. Excuse me. Livanine werewolf. Werewolf confessions would be quite peculiar. Take thieves of Caribbean living in Swedish Livanai in the 17th century. These These, excuse me 1 second. Let me go ahead and mute her up while she's okay. There we go. Um, Catelyn Byrne, living in Sweden, Lavana in the 17th century, Thys was widely believed among his neighbors to be a werewolf. Oh, Theus was widely believed among his neighbors to be a werewolf who had dealings with the devil. Local authorities didn't much care. After all, Theus was in his 80s. What harm could he do with a few tall tales? But when they brought him in for questioning on an unrelated matter in 1691, he voluntarily began divulging details of his werewolf lifestyle. Okay. Although with many inconsistencies. According to his account, Theus had given up lycanthropy 10 years prior to his appearance before the judges in 1691. Before that, he and the other werewolves would change in the wolves on St. Lucia's Day, Pentecost and Midsummer Night by doing magical wolf pelts, although he later changed his story and said they just stripped naked and turned into wolves. They would then maraud the countryside, killing farm animals and cooking and eating them when asked how wolves cooked meat. he declared they were still human, not wolves. His story only grew stranger. He claimed that the werewolves were the agents of God and would travel to hell to battle the devil and his witches, bringing back grain and livestock the witches had stolen. In fact, he said he had done so just 1 year earlier, contradicting his earlier claim of having renounced Lincoln, Lincoln, lycanthropy, ly, lycanthropy. What's this word here? Help me out.
Lycanthropy? Lycanthropy?
Lycanthropy. Yeah, I don't. What is that even? I see. I don't know what that means.
Well, I was just sitting here and I was curious on how many times they had to go out and buy new wardrobes.
Yeah. Well, apparently, if they did it naked, so
Well, I mean, that's the thing, when they couldn't have been completely naked. They had to have been dressed at one point, and then apparently, I mean, I imagine if you're going to turn from human to a werewolf, your
well,
clothes are going to shred.
I
You
imagine
would think.
they would. I imagine they would look out at the moon, and if it was a full moon, they'd start stripping. I,
Stripping for the moon.
I guess so. Yeah,
You
but
think they had a little bit to drink before they did that?
maybe. If Bruce Banner were to get naked every time he got mad, he would have saved himself a hell of a lot of clothes. I'm just saying.
Yeah, put on a bigger outfit before you go.
Yeah. When it was revealed that Theus was not devout Lutheran and indeed practiced a form of folk magic involving charms and blessings, the judges ordered Theus flogged and exiled. What happened to the strange chap after that is unknown. Okay, there you go. Oh wow, this one looks kind of gory. I'll let you cover this one since you're back.
Yeah, it doesn't look pleasant.
Yeah, I'm gonna
The
go ahead.
wolf of, is that Ansbach?
Um, hold on 1 second. I changed over because I was going to mute up for a second. The Wolf of Ansbach. Yeah, yeah.
In 1685, a wolf was terrorizing and killing humans in the town of Neuss in the Principality of Ansbach in what is now Germany. This was not unusual, but the town's chief magistrate, Michael Lecht, had just died. He was a cruel and unpopular man, and it was said that the wolf visited Leech's residence, so it was only a small leap for people to claim the wolf was Leech, returned as a werewolf for his sins. The wolf's death was not terribly eventful. The people organized a hunt and chased the wolf into a well and killed it. What they did lost my place. Oh, what they did with its body is pretty macabre, though. They paraded it through the streets, then prepared it for display. They cut off its muzzle, dressed it in human clothes, and placed a wig on its head and a mask on its face, so that it resembled Leeched. They then hung the body from a gibbet so that everyone might enjoy the sight. After some time, the wolf was removed from the gibbet and its corpse preserved and put on permanent display at a local museum, because that's not weird or creepy at all.
Man, I'll tell you what. Huh. Things must have been pretty bored there for them to hang this guy on display for all to see out of enjoyment. I mean, think about that. People enjoyed this kind of activity.
Well, I mean, how would they know it's not an actual human if they went and put human clothes on it, placed a wig on its head, and a mask on its face?
Right. So, what
Maybe
I
they
mean,
did that, said it just to scare them, but it was really a human.
the thing is, well, no, it talks about they cut off its muzzle, so it'd have
Ah,
to be a
yeah, cut off
wolf.
its muzzle.
So maybe it was a wolf and they dressed it as a human. Is that what they're saying? To make
I don't
people
know, it just
believe?
seems strange because if they cut off its muzzle, um, what kind of noises would it be making?
Well, I imagine it was dead before they cut off its muzzle
Yeah,
because it says that they shot it or something. Chased it too well and killed it. Yeah, so it was dead before they cut off its muzzle. So it wouldn't have been making any noises.
or was it just drugged heavily?
Huh?
Or was it just drugged heavily? They might have said it was dead, but maybe it was a human drugged heavily. I don't know. They did weird things like that back then. Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows? Uh, but here's the werewolf of Alares. These towns' names are just, I don't know. Anyway, widely thought of as Spain's first ever serial killer. Interesting. Manuel Blanco Roman, Roma Santa is unusual for a werewolf. Yeah, just that name alone. Operating late in the mid 19th century. Actually, Roma Santa was an unusual case in a few ways. Born in 1809, he had been raised as a girl. Talk about misgendering until about the age of 6, at which point doctors discovered he was male. He grew up married and worked as a tailor when his wife died in 1833. He took up the traveling salesman trade, also guiding travelers around Spain and Portugal. His first known murder was Vincent Fernandez, the the constable of Leon. Fernandez was found dead in 1844 after attempting to collect a debt from Roma Santa rather than face the law. Roma Santa fled to Portugal. During this time, he murdered several people who had hired him as a guide. He was not a cunning man. Roma Santa was noticed selling their clothes, and rumors started to circulate he was selling soap made with human fat. A complaint was lodged, and Roma Santa was arrested. He confessed to 13 murderers, but here is where it gets wolfish. Uh, he said he had been cursed by lycanthropy, but upon being asked to demonstrate his transformation abilities, Ramasanta declared that the curse had passed and he was no longer afflicted. He was actually acquitted of 4 of the deaths. Those forensic examples found had been committed by real wolves. However, he was found guilty of the rest. A phrenological examination of Roma Santa by doctors determined that he had invented his curse and he was sentenced to death. This was commuted to life imprisonment on the request of French hypnotists who believed that Roma Santa was suffering a delusion and petitioned to stay of execution so that he might study the man. Interesting. An 1863 newspaper reported that Roma Santa passed away that year in prison from stomach cancer. Wow. Huh. Well, there you have it. I'm trying to see how many more of these we got to go. Okay, this appears to be the last one. So,
Okay.
This appears to be the last one. So Amazon Lion, take it away.
Alrighty. The Werewolf of Bedburg. Wonder if he had bedbugs.
That's what I was thinking about when I just read that.
One
Yeah.
of the most famous werewolf cases is Peter Stump, or Stump, maybe, a wealthy farmer accused of being a serial murderer, cannibal, and werewolf in Rhineland in 1589. In the years preceding Stump's area or arrest, the county town of Bedburg had been plagued with horrors. It started with dead and mutilated cattle, but bodies of townfolk were also soon found in the fields. Initially, it was thought that a wolf or wolves were attacking, but the creatures evaded capture. Finally, in 1589, a hunting party managed to corner the wolf with its hounds. When the humans approached, they saw, according to reports, not a wolf at all. Instead, the hounds had cornered Stump. The most damning piece of evidence was that Stump's left hand had been lopped off. The wolf had had its left forepaw cut off. Since wolf and man had the same injury, wolf and man must be one and the same. Stump confessed, but it's a questionable confession at best. He had been subjected to torture, including the rack. He said he'd been made pact with the devil when he was 12. He had been given a magic belt which allowed him to turn into a wolf. He confessed to killing 14 children and 2 pregnant women. He ate at their flesh and ravished their bodies. He killed his own son and had a sexual relationship with his own daughter. He was sentenced to die in the most awful manner. He was fixed to a breaking wheel and had flesh torn from his body with red hot pincers. His limbs were broken with the blunt side of an axe, so he might not rise from the grave. Finally, he was beheaded. His head was placed on a pole with the figures of a breaking wheel and a wolf on it as a warning to others. His daughter and mistress were also flayed, strangled, and burned.
Oof.
It is not known whether the crimes were truly committed by Stump. At the time, the region was deeply affected by the Cologne War. Is that how you say it? Stump.
Colon. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Cologne War. They were spraying each other with odorous, you know. Yeah. I guess I don't know.
Stump was a Protestant convert, and the region had been seized by the Catholics in 1857. His death was to the Catholics' advantage, as his considerable wealth would fall to them. In addition, Stump's death could have served as long as a strong warning to other Protestants.
Here comes the Stetson Brigade. Oh, look out! We got, we got. They filled their guns with bottles of Stetson and Vanilla Musk, and they had a cologne war. Just saying.
Right?
No, but that's some horrific stuff right there, man. Which is perfect, might I say, for Halloween upcoming. So look, since we've been reading those articles, we've had bone-breaking action where werewolves are real, where clone wars are real, for that matter. We have John from America who says, "Hi guys," and he says he always comes in at the worst parts. Well, maybe the worst is yet to come, John from America. We do have Amazon Lion's creepy critters coming up next. So just beware and be there. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
be very aware. If you are squeamish, please do not watch this part.
But I think it's interesting how, sort of like I said at the beginning, werewolves and vampires sort of have the same kind of stigma behind them. And also, it's interesting how back then, you know, they were superstitious of all things, and when they heard tales of werewolves and stuff like that, they automatically assumed that the wolves that were attacking their cattle and whatnot were not just ordinary wolves, just because of the brutality of the attacks that were going on. And another thing I'd like to point out is it seems like back then there was a lot of pact with the devil. Seemed like a lot of these people would claim, you know.
Yeah, that they had a pact with the devil.
It's very weird, and it makes you think too about all of our fairy tales and the stuff that we talked about. I don't know if it a couple weeks ago or maybe that was our first week. I can't remember, but you think about that, and there was a lot of wolves and fairy tales. I mean, there was the three pigs had a
Yeah,
wolf.
they had red wolves.
Little grandmother,
Yep,
I'm
Little
sorry,
Red Riding Hood.
yeah, had a wolf. Um, the little boy who told a lie, he had a wolf.
Yeah, who cried wolf.
Yeah, a lot of wolves. But
Looks like the audience was having a great conversation about your fan in the corner.
oh yeah, well,
Michael Fontaine said the fan in the corner is driving him crazy and he's getting a headache.
oh
The
no.
fan for me, it's not doing anything for me because it's definitely not cooling me off.
Well, you know what? Your fan was going earlier. We could all hear it. So maybe maybe
Uh-oh.
maybe it was this fan that was making all that racket.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how myths are made. Very true, Go Kart Bob. Um, but anyway, oh, he says something about the Catholics. Yeah, the Catholics they did a lot of things. They killed people who they believed to be werewolves. They burned witches at the stakes. Stuff like that. I mean, that is true. But it wasn't just Catholics. It was Protestants and other religions too that had all these superstitions. So I also want to throw that out there about all the different religions and stuff.
Michael Fontaine says it put a pumpkin or something festive instead of the fan.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Let's accommodate Michael Fontaine. Why not? Let's see here. What can I put up there? We got, oh, that's backgrounds. Let's see. Zoom up to the top here. And I got a disco ball. I got a Christmas tree. Will that work? Christmas tree. That's festive.
No pumpkins?
I don't have pumpkins yet. You know what? I need to get one in
Any
there.
ghosts? Skeletons?
We're gonna maybe this guy's a little scary to some people. Just saying. Tell you what. Let's. How about this? That okay? Is that better? Or is it the movement? You want something that's sitting still? Here. There we go. Oh no, that's not sitting still, is it? Let's see. What can we do here to accommodate Michael Fontaine? Here we go. Put a little Mac the Night. There you go. Okay. It is nighttime, so why not?
Now, where in the world was he from? Because for some reason now I want a soda.
What are you talking
Maybe
about?
some McDonald's. Who is that?
Mac the Night?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
He
that
looks familiar, but I don't know who it is.
he was in McDonald's commercials a long time
Oh,
ago,
okay.
back in
I
the
remember
80s. It
then.
was Mac the Night. Kind of a moon that kind of resembled who's that blind piano player, Charles oh I can't think of his name now. The
Ray Charles?
Yeah, Ray Charles. That's it. I almost said his name
And his
backwards.
head looks like a gray banana.
Yeah, yeah.
A
But yeah.
banana gone bad.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Mac the Knight was supposed to be a representative of the moon, singing moon. But anyway, yeah, oh, yeah, that's when McDonald's had started a campaign to stay open later, like they were open late at night at that time. Do you remember that?
I don't.
Yeah. I think at that time they were shooting for like past midnight. Then McDonald's toys would be cool if they didn't have four eyes. We agree with you, bone breaking action. It's funny you should bring that up because Amazon Lion here was the first to notice that. And when she showed it to me, I first thought it was an action feature where the eyes pop up or whatever. But no, what it is well, I'll let you explain that, Amazon line. You're the one that researched that and
I don't
found some
know.
stuff
I
out.
can't remember the full thing, but it's more of something based on, I think it was a cartoon or something in the 90s, characters in the 90s. And I was really disappointed. I thought they were making a comeback with, you know, for ages of 40 plus. I would like to see all those old toys come back, that from when we were kids.
Yeah, they're collaborant.
When they said they were coming back with, some of the old toys, I thought they were talking about, 40 plus years,
Let's see. Did you
year
send?
olds. And it was, I think, more people that are in their 30s, maybe.
Mhm. Did you send
But
something in Hangouts though? You,
I don't know if I did.
there's
Let's,
something because you were trying to point out, or was that
let
on
me see.
Facebook? I think that was on Facebook where you pointed out the McDonald's toys and how they were jacked up looking.
Yeah.
Um, oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so here's a little extra article for you guys.
All righty.
Okay. Let me go ahead and pop it on the screen here. And there's the adult Happy Meal. Okay, and here's what the article says. The eyes on the new adult Happy Meal toys at McDonald's are freaking everybody out. And now we're going to find out why do the adult Happy Meal toys have four eyes? As people begin to purchase their adult Happy Meals and check out their toys, many have noticed that all of the toys included in their boxes have four eyes. While that design element may seem innocuous, what's that word? I know I'm not saying it right. Innocuous? What is that? Amazon line.
Innocuous.
Innocuous. Thank you. To some, others wondered if it had some deeper meaning that we were just missing. As it turns out, the main reason that toys have four eyes is because McDonald's collaborated with streetwear brand Cactus Plant Flea Market on their designs, whatever that is. So, the brand is known for their offbeat designs, and one of their signature elements has long been a face with four eyes. The company has previously produced bracelets and t shirts that feature a yellow smiley face with two sets of eyes. Now, the brand has taken their own signature style and attempted to meld it with many of the signature characters that McDonald's customers are likely familiar with. Every adult Happy Meal comes with one of four toys. There are four available toys that you could get when you order an adult Happy Meal. Three of those toys are designed versions of McDonald's mascots Grimace the Hamburglar and Bertie. There's also a few new figures associated with Cactus Plant Flea Market named Buddy, who is dressed in the uniform of a McDonald's employee. So there's the Happy Meal, and a lot of people are not uh, too happy with this.
I'm not happy with it at all.
This the Bernie from Twitter says, why do these toys have four eyes? Am I too old to get it, or am I missing something? No, you're not
And like
missing.
Michael Fontaine says, it's $12.99 for a Happy Meal. I mean,
Yeah,
good Lord, come on.
you know this merging with this cactus plant flea market or whatever it is. Why? First of all, why would they have to do that? And second of all, McDonald's could stand up on its own 2 feet without having another person come in and do this. If they wanted to give us something that would be reminiscent of the old Happy Meal toys of these characters, then they should have just done that. And if they did merge with this company, that should have been a separate deal. Like maybe that particular character could have had the four eyes, and they should have left the rest of the characters alone the way they were. You
I
know,
agree.
if you're going to sell, like, who is this even for? You know what I mean? Like, it's not for the ones who grow up with these characters
No, that's
because
not what our characters look like.
no, and it's certainly not for little kids because the little kids don't know who these characters are.
No,
So who are they trying to appease? I just, you know, like you said, if you're no adult our age is going to spend $12 and something for freaking food just to get a
absolutely.
toy that they don't know anything about, they can't identify with. It's ridiculous. If you're going to come out with these toys, You should do it retro style, exactly the way they were. Leave them alone. Don't change them. If you want to do it with the original character, that's fine. But I'm not going to pay $12 and something for a Happy Meal toy that I don't even know anything about. I don't like it. It has nothing to do with my childhood. It's not a collectible. It just isn't. So that just ruins the whole purpose of them being the collectible. You know what I
But
mean?
speaking of McDonald's,
Mm-hmm.
I did hear that they are going to change one of the sides from fries to chicken nuggets.
Mm.
You can have the option of picking chicken nuggets for one of your sides. So that'd be pretty neat because I do like their chicken nuggets
Right.
sometimes.
Well, their chicken nuggets should has always been like the one of the main meals. Like it's never been a side, but
Right.
you know, it can be if you want to order it as a side, I guess. But I assume they're still going to have it as a main meal for a choice.
Ooh, File of Fire says, collectible drinking glasses would be cool. I agree.
Yeah, like
That
they
would be
used to
neat.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
One
The toys that they used to hand out.
right. One thing they are doing, and I think that they're doing it correctly, is they're coming back out with the Halloween and I just showed that on the screen the pumpkins
The
that collect
Halloween
the
buckets, yeah. Trick or treat
yeah
buckets.
trick or treat buckets, right? They are coming back out with that, and if they look at anything like they look here on the screen, then I would dish out $12 and something for one of those because that looks exactly like how I remember the originals. I'm just saying. I mean, and it's something you can have not only as a collectible, but you can have it as a change jar, or you could put candy in it, or you could put jewelry in it, Just
Oh,
saying.
Wildfire said something that I forgot completely about. The gift coupons. You remember those?
Gift coupons. No, I don't remember those.
Huh. You could like take, they had a little paper booklet and
Hmm.
you could rip them out and they'd be things like a free ice cream cone
I'll be darned. No, I forgot completely about that.
or a free fry, or something like that. Oh yeah, McChangeables. Those were awesome. Yes, BBA. I agree. I really liked those.
But I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you this much. Pizza Hut. Pizza Huts all around are failing. They're going bankrupt. They're just they're doing horrible. And I think
Michael,
one,
sorry, Michael Fontaine says they're free beer or wine coupons.
but I think one of the things that would save Pizza Hut is if they brought back the Book It program. That remember the Book It program?
I do. My kids were in it when they were little, when Pizza Hut was still around.
And the sad thing is they changed the formula of their pizza. They changed the sauce. They changed the crust. Everything changed. And now you're seeing like stuff coming back. It's coming back, but my question is if it's not the right recipe or the original recipe, then what's the point of bringing it back? Because it's just going to taste horrible.
Right.
I tell you what, I wish they'd bring back the Bigfoot. That'd be cool. But I don't know if there's going to be any Pizza Huts around anymore because we don't have a Pizza Hut, and during our summer,
I think they still have the one in my town, but I can't promise because it's been a while since
Mhm,
I've been there. But I'm pretty sure they still have that one open, and I don't know for how long, but
right.
I believe it's still there.
Well, the one that we went to, we tried to go the one, I think it was in Missouri. We tried to stop at one, and it was completely closed down. I think the outside. I think they were doing delivery, but the inside was closed down. Was it the whole place closed down? I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
Hmm. But there isn't a whole lot of sit down places
Were
left.
Were you in the Book It Club? I was in the Book It Club. I loved the Book It Club. I was
I
always
was,
reading. I think that's how I became a reader
yeah,
because I don't ever remember my parents reading to me, for bedtime or anything like that. Um, I pretty much became a reader on my own. And I think the Book It Club, may have helped that.
yeah. I was a member of the Book Club, and you got these little stickers. I think it was little stickers, and then you put little stickers on your little thing. You got so many. You got a free pizza and their own little personal pan pizza. You go in, give it
Didn't
to
you
them.
get a certificate too?
I don't remember certificates, but I definitely remember the free pizza, and I think that was my main motivation for Book It. I think a lot of those Book It things were like things you had to pick from school. I think it was.
Oh, you talking about the school store?
Yeah,
Yeah, they had school stores with my kids too. I always thought that was neat.
but
Or the little candy stands.
mhm. But now, it's we've almost met the 3 hour mark, and I think it's about time to bring out your creepy critters. What do you think?
Sounds great to me. Let's do it to it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Be forewarned. If you cannot handle yuck or gruesome, please do not watch creepy critters. Thank you.
With that
Watch at
being
your own risk.
Now with that PSA warning out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for Amazon Lions Creepy Critters. And here we go. First, we have an article here, and I think that the headline pretty much tells our viewers everything.
Oh, yes. I found this interesting. Absurd creature of the week. The wasp that lays eggs inside caterpillars and turns them into slaves.
Nope. What happened here? Hold on. Okay.
Few parasitoids are more bizarre or disturbing than the wasps of the genus Glypta pantalus. It's pantalus. Whose females inject their eggs into living caterpillars. Once inside, the larvae mature, feeding on the caterpillar's body fluids before gnawing through its skin
Yeah.
en masse and emerging into the light of day. And despite the trauma, not only does the caterpillar survive, initially at least, but the larvae proceed to mind control it, turning their host into a bodyguard that protects them as they spin.
Ah, man, a lot of pop ups.
Oh, yeah. As they spin their cocoons and finish maturing. Then finally, the caterpillar starves to death, but only after the tiny wasps emerge from their cocoons and fly away. And this is
Ew.
what it looks like as the
Oh.
larvae are hatching out of the host.
Hmm. Wow. I don't think I could see that for very much longer.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That is
I do not even know what to
icky.
think if I saw that
Oh, wow.
caterpillar on a leaf in real life.
Man, I just got shudders.
I
Ugh. Whew.
know.
No more of that. Okay.
No, I
Next
just
thing in the article.
we're all at the mercy of parasites. You, me, your dog or cat, or even pet rabbit. If you're one of those people, but rather mercifully, parasites like the tapeworms that invade our guts don't typically kill their hosts, on account of that meaning the end of their food and shelter. One group of parasites, known as parasitoid, parasito,
Sitoids.
yeah,
Sitoid.
it's so hard to see. Parasitoids, those shows no such mercy. They invade their hosts, use them, and unceremoniously dispatch them when they've had their fill. Few parasitoids are more bizarre or disturbing than the wasps of the genus Glyptopantulus, whose females inject their eggs into living caterpillars. There the larvae mature, feeding on the caterpillar's fluids before gnawing through its skin and moss and emerging into the light of day. Despite the trauma, not only does the caterpillar survive, initially at least, but the larva mind control it, turning their host into a bodyguard that protects them as they spin their cocoons and finish the maturing. The caterpillar eventually starves to death, but only after the tiny wasps emerge from their cocoons and fly away.
Mm. You know, this is starting to sound a lot like I forget which Star Trek movie it was, but the one where they used the earwigs to go into the brain of the person, and then the earwigs take over their brain, and then they essentially take over their body, basically.
It's a real thing with this caterpillar and the wasp larva.
Whew, creepy.
Because he has awesome ideas and not because he's some kind of sadist, ecologist Arnie Jansen of the University of Amsterdam brought this remarkable life cycle into a lab a few years back to study it. What he and his colleagues confirmed for the first time is that not only do Glyptopantulus larvae actively manipulate the behavior of their host, but by transforming caterpillars into bodyguards, they greatly boost their chances of survival compared to their unprotected comrades.
Hmm. But
It
they're
goes
kind
a
of like
little,
the thing is though they're kind of like the Borg. They go in and they take over the body, and they basically, it's part who they are, but it's also part of what that initial host is. So it's kind of like they're doing it for themselves, but for their own good too. You
yeah.
know, in other words, we will divide, we will go in and conquer. Resistance is futile, kind of thing.
Well,
Don't.
it goes a little something like this. A female Glyptopantulus wasp pounces on a caterpillar, drilling into its flesh with
Oof.
what is known as a ovipositor, literally egg placer, and pumps up to 80 eggs into its body cavity, according to Jansen. When the eggs hatch into the larva, they begin feeding on the caterpillar's bodily juices, taking care to avoid attacking vital organs. Somewhat of a rarity for parasitoids. Most parasitoids eat the host completely empty, said Jansen. The Glypta pantalus don't do that. We don't know exactly why, but one of the reasons may be that if you kill the host, it cannot defend you afterwards. Inside the caterpillar, the larvae will go through several stages or molts to to shed their exoskeletons as they expand. During all this, the caterpillar, which grows more and more bloated as the larvae mature, isn't yet showing any signs of being manipulated. Incredibly, you can't even tell it's behaving any differently, even as it swells to the point where it looks like it's going to burst, like a can of soda in a freezer that's filled with parasitic larvae instead of soda, I guess.
Ugh.
Inevitably, though, the larvae must make their exit, all 80 at once, over the course of an hour. They release chemicals that paralyze the caterpillar. Then each individual begins gnawing its way out. It's a horrific happening, as you can see in the amazing National Geographic video below. Yet keep in mind that the caterpillar survives this incredible trauma. How? Well, it's thought that the larvae time their final molt to coincide with the exit. So as they squeeze through the caterpillar's skin, the exoskeleton they leave behind blocks the exit hole. Thus, they perform their own slapdash surgery on their gravely wounded hosts. If you'll be my bodyguard, I can be your long lost pal. If you'll be my bodyguard. You remember that?
Yeah.
As the larvae congregate in a mass and begin spinning their cocoons, the caterpillar snaps out of it and helps them, using its own silk to construct a protective covering. And you can imagine it has somewhat conflicted feelings about all of this, much like Kevin Costner's emotional struggles in The Bodyguard. Once everyone is done spinning, the caterpillar switches its defense mode, lashing out at not only predatory insects but other wasps known as hyperparasitoids. The Glypa, Glyptopantalus pupae, the final stage before they complete their development, you see, don't have it so easy. In a nice little bit of poetic justice, these hyperparasitoids will inject their own eggs into Glyptopantalus.
Okay, now there is a video down here, but I'm almost certain that if I play this video, I will get a copyright claim or even a copyright strike
Okay.
because it does come from a published site. It's not just a, you know.
Right.
Let's see here. Oof. It looks like there is another video.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It looks like there's another video, so I'm wondering if we can play that one.
Let's see if we can play this one. It's only 10 seconds long. I don't think there's any sound, so. Is it playing?
Yeah, it's playing.
Well, that was rather fast.
Yeah, I don't think it takes it long to invade it. It just lays its eggs real quick and boom, it's over.
Well, let's watch that one more time.
See it crawling up there? Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, it's
And it's done.
wow. Okay. Well, there you have it. Um, I think we pretty well covered this.
Yeah,
I
pretty much.
think we need to read any more to you.
I think we're good with that. I think the audience gets the gist of
Yeah.
everything. But
Yeah.
that is our creepy critter of the week.
Creepy critter of the week. And that about concludes this week's Shifty Sunday. What you think about that?
I thought it was a great show, and you can go ahead and give your shouts out.
Let's do our final shout out for this evening. We have Fire here in the audience tonight.
Yep, shout, let it all out.
John from America, Go Kart Bob, screeching in, bone breaking action, where caterpillar and wasp larvae are real. Michael Fontaine. Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine. Let's see, who else did we have here tonight? I saw some other people popping in. Oh yeah, let's see, it was DD74. Were they here?
Let's see, I see John from America,
Yeah, which I mentioned.
right? Let's see. BBA.
Right, which I mentioned.
Fire.
I think that's about it, except
Yeah.
if we have any lurkers or if I missed any of you guys, then I apologize for that. But hey, you know who you are, and we appreciate each and every one of you for showing up here at Shifty Sunday each and every week. We appreciate all the thumbs up we've been getting here lately. And Amazon line, do you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm thinking. I think it was Miss Fire who does not feel well. She hasn't felt well, and I'm gonna keep her. She's on my mind, and I'm gonna keep her in my prayers and pray for good health and that you get to feeling better. And I'm glad for everybody that was able to join us tonight, and I hope that you all have a great week. Hugs to all.
Very well said. And same here. I saw earlier where she did say she wasn't feeling well. So, yeah, prayers going out to her to feeling better. And yeah, so very good show, everybody. Everyone, thanks for coming. Thank you, Amazon Line, once again for being my host.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
And we'll do it all again next Sunday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
However,